let's see. Let's give a couple of minutes here to get everybody in the room. I want to make sure that I am live on all of my platforms. Hello, come on in, come on in. Thank you for coming. Just making sure that we are connected on all of our platforms. Today we are on LinkedIn, we're on YouTube, we are on Facebook, and I just want to make sure that we are live everywhere. Before we bring on our guest speaker, we are talking about increasing your credit score today, and I'm super excited to have someone who has achieved a perfect credit score to come and give us all the tips about what she did and how we can all do the same. So I'm super excited. Bear with me while I just make sure that we are live on LinkedIn. I want to make sure. Nope. Here we go. Let's see. Not 100% sure what's going on there. We're going to share this out. Oh, no. Share it in the wrong place. Okay, bear with me. We're going to share this out. We're making sure. Hi, welcome. I just want to make sure that we are live everywhere. I want to go ahead and get this shared out and make sure that it is going everywhere that it needs to go. So bear with me for like 2 seconds. I greatly appreciate it. Let's see. We're just going to share to feed. Perfect. Hi, welcome. Come on into the room. We are live now. Okay, excellent. I just wanted to make sure that we got live everywhere. So we're on LinkedIn, we're on YouTube, we are on Facebook. Thank you, everyone, for coming. I sincerely appreciate it. So hey, Journey to Generational Wealth gang. I am financial coach Laura. I'm the owner of Journey to Generational Wealth, and I empower women of color to achieve their financial goals, financial stability, financial security, and begin their journey to generational wealth through financial coaching and personalized financial strategies. April is Financial Literacy Month. And for those that are not aware, financial literacy refers to the knowledge and skills necessary to make informed financial decisions. And so welcome to Journey to Generational Wealth's Financial Literacy Live series. This month, I am collaborating with some amazing women of color in the financial industry, and we are going to discuss things like life insurance and why it's necessary, bookkeeping and what entrepreneurs need to know, building wealth through real estate investing. And tonight we are discussing increasing your credit score. So allow me to introduce our guest of this evening. Come on into the room, Miss Sabrina. I'm super excited to be introducing you all to Sabrina Graham. She is a multi-business owner with a dream to build a legacy to keep families together. She's a project manager, a real estate investor, and volunteers with Girl Scouts as a troop leader. In 2023, she started a new business to educate people on the perks of having an excellent credit score based on her personal experience of reaching a perfect credit score multiple times. I am so excited to introduce you guys to Miss Sabrina Graham, aka Mrs. Perfect Credit Score. Welcome, Sabrina. Welcome.
Hi, Laura. Hi, everyone.
Hey, everybody. I'm so super excited to have you here. So let me dive literally right in.
Okay.
How did you achieve a perfect credit score? Like, tell us all the details. Like, where did you start from? And then how did you actually achieve
Okay. Well, it all started when I went to college. I'll give you like the basis of where I came from and then how I hit the perfect credit score. So it all started when went off to college, and I was a broke student, like most college students are. And I wanted shirts, I wanted all kinds of things, and I would walk around the college campus, and they would have those tables out giving away free stuff. So I wanted a free shirt. They said, here you go, just fill this paper out on the clipboard and we'll get you a free shirt. And so I did it, just filled it out, not really worried about that it was a credit inquiry or anything like that. I just wanted my free shirt. And so I got lots of free shirts, let's just say that. And when I started getting all the cards, it was like a $500 limit, a $1,000 limit. I was excited. I felt like I was rich. And so I start spending, and I even reached back to my family, like, hey, what do you guys want? Kind of thing. So I use my credit cards a lot. And, there was times I was paying them on time, sometimes I didn't, where I was like, well, I got to eat. So I would skip making my payments on time. And it wasn't until it was time for me to get into a marriage that I was like, oh boy, I filled up all this debt. It was probably over $30,000 worth of credit cards because the more I used them, the credit card company kept extending my limit, right? And so I filled it up. I was, like I said, probably over $30,000 in debt. And I knew I had to tell my to be husband at that time because I want him to know what he's getting. He's just not getting me, but he's getting all of this debt with me. And he was okay with helping me with that. So fast forward, we get married, we want to get a house. At this point, it's when I really started looking more at my credit and started getting help to build my credit. We did get our first house. However, it came with a balloon loan, which is not good. And if anybody knows what a balloon loan is, just a quick highlight. It's basically a loan that you have to eventually pay off within a short amount of time, like the whole amount. And so I found out that my balloon loan, that at 5 years, I had to pay the full amount off. And so, a mortgage is typically a 30-year fixed rate loan. So I was in this balloon loan and I was like, oh boy. So I started working on my credit. I was able to eventually get it refinanced. So I can get out of that balloon loan and into a fixed loan for 30 years. So that was kind of the start of me really looking at my credit and understanding why it's important for you to have great credit. Moving forward to starting my journey to excellent credit is when, let's see, I was in a car dealership and I was buying a car, and they did my credit check. They came back and they were like, whoa, we've never seen a high credit score like this before. I was like, really? What is it? I didn't even know what my credit score was, but I knew that I had been working on getting my credit better. But I was terrible at looking at my credit score and doing that monitoring. So once I realized this is embarrassing, that I don't even know what my own credit score is, I became obsessed and I started looking at my credit score. I put in some credit monitoring so I can really see what's going on with my credit score. And when I would look, as the credit score would go up, especially when I got into the 800s, I got super excited and I'm like, what can I do to kind of get it to the next level? But still at that point, I didn't even know what was the cap. I do know now it's 850. But once I figure out what the cap was, um, like I said, I was obsessed to, get it better and actually hit that 850 credit score. And so I, educated myself as to what impacts my credit score. And just to take a step back, I do want to say that when I went on a journey to get out of debt, one of the things I did was I prayed to God because I was like, I don't know what to do to get myself out of debt here. And I will say He gave me wisdom. So I want to make sure that I give um, honor to God that He's the one that gave me wisdom to do this. So I want to make sure that's clear. But moving forward, um, once I would get to like 830, I'll get to 840, I'll get almost there, and it go up and down kind of thing with the credit score. And eventually I got to like 849 and I was like, oh my God, I'm almost there. And just continue to look closer and closer at my credit score, and what impacted my credit score. And it's little things, like, you got to pay your bills on time, right? That's the biggest thing. But little things to kind of get you over into like that 800 plus mark. It's little things like making sure nobody runs your credit, um, where you get a credit inquiry, or things such as, besides credit utilization, like your history of your credit as well. So I finally reached it, and it does continue to go up and down, but I actually hit the perfect credit score a few times. So excited about that. Hopefully that
That
answers your question.
yeah. No, it definitely does. So you hit so many different points that I like want to delve a little bit deeper
Okay.
into. So the first one is as it pertains to college. So I feel like most of us acquire our first credit card in college, which is just honestly absurd that um, the credit card companies will give like just open lines of credit to teenagers. Like it just doesn't make any sense to me. But
Right.
nonetheless, especially if you come from a background where you didn't really, no one told you, hey, be prepared for this. When this happens, don't do it. You don't need a t-shirt. Like, do you know where any of your t-shirts are right now that you got from credit cards?
One
Like,
of
be
them, I saved one. It's in my closet. I was super excited about that shirt. You don't understand. Well,
well,
one. I do have one. I still have
I
one.
hope that one T-shirt was worth all the stress that you went through over all these credit cards. Um, but like that's literally one of the things that I tell my clients. I have a financial foundation for youth program that I do with
Mhm.
college students, and I am like, or with intro to college students, and I'm like, you're gonna get offered T-shirts and koozies and squish balls and just all kinds of tchotchke crap that you don't need for a credit card that you're then going to potentially use that's going to put you in debt because you're a college student.
Mhm.
And they know that the likelihood is that you're not presently working. So you're not going to be able to pay it off on a month to month basis. So it just doesn't
Mhm.
make any sense to be giving college students credit cards in the first place. So I love the fact that you were just, transparent and honest about that experience. That was my experience as well, how I got my first credit card. I also got a t-shirt. I have no idea what the t-shirt was, don't know what was on it. I just know I was walking, to your point, walking around on campus, heard some music playing, came over, the people were all super excited, and they were like, oh,
Mhm.
we'll give you a t-shirt. And they may have had some other things that they would give you. And I think there was some food or some candy, like free candy or
Candy.
whatever.
Yeah.
Yep. And college students always want to eat. So yeah. So for some food and a t-shirt, then now you're in debt. Like food
Yeah.
and t-shirt and debt equals debt. Just craziness. So anyway,
Mhm. Mhm.
um, moving on, you talked about your that when you went to get married, like you had to have that conversation with your fiance. And so I'd love for you to talk about that just a little bit more. And the reason I asked you to talk about that a little bit more is because far too often I feel like I'm kudos to you and your fiance for having that conversation. Because I feel like a lot of people are like, oh, we're in love, da da da. They talk about, about having children and about, other aspects of life goals.
Mhm.
But finances is something that people shy away from talking about, especially debt, which marriage is a financial contract. Like,
Mhm.
whatever, to your point, he wasn't just getting you, he was getting whatever debt you had, as well as you were getting whatever debt he had. So, talk a little bit about that and how that conversation went.
Yeah, it was uncomfortable. It was definitely embarrassing on my side, because it was just so much and it was out of control, and my credit was really low. So, I just kind of sat down with them and we talked about finances. And I talked about, how I really wanted to get out of debt, and this is what it is. Here's how many credit cards I have. Here's how much debt I have. Um, and he was very supportive, and that's one thing about my husband. He's always been supportive. And we've been married for 20 years now.
Oh,
So
wonderful.
one thing consistently is that he's always been supportive. So you just never know by just having a conversation. You'll get an insight as to who you're marrying too. So it's good to also have that conversation because of the response. You may not want to marry that person. But so that, he assured me that he will help me as much as he can. And I talked about, what I was paying monthly and things like that. And he eventually talked about how he can contribute. And really, the rest is history. But the key thing was he was super supportive.
Okay. I love that. And I love the fact that you said that that was your experience, that he was super supportive. So my
Mhm.
question for you is, do you, having gone through that experience and
Mhm.
also being someone who works with people on increasing their credit score, is that conversation something that you would say should happen once you've gotten engaged? Or if you guys are talking about potentially getting married, then maybe it should be before a ring is purchased and the question is asked? Where's your perspective on when that those financial discussions should take place?
Yeah, I just, in my opinion, I'm thinking probably before you get engaged. Definitely before, some people move in together before they get married. So definitely before you move in together, because you're going to be kind of combining some things and paying bills together and things like that. So I would say definitely before you get engaged or before you move in with that person, like,
Okay.
when it start getting really serious, because you don't want to on the first date to say, hey, by the way, I have $30,000 in debt. You okay with that? So, you don't want to do
Surprise,
it
surprise.
surprise, so you don't want to do it on a first date. And it's not like I don't think it's a deal breaker, right?
Right.
So I don't think it's something that need to be disclosed that, the first night. But, as you become comfortable with your partner, I think at some point you discuss when you're comfortable, timing is everything. So just when you feel it's the right time, but I would say definitely before you get into the whole engagement and walking down the aisle or in Las Vegas, however you get married.
Yeah, whatever your process is. Yeah, no. Okay, great. Thank you so much.
Mhm.
So talk to us about how long it actually took you to achieve a perfect credit score. So, like, from the time that you were like, okay, obviously I have a problem, to 850, like, what was that time frame like?
I would say, I think it was probably about in 2016
Okay.
is when I kind of really realized that, okay, I need to start monitoring. So that's around the time I started monitoring, right? Like 2021. So maybe about 5 years
Okay.
that it took me. But again, when I started monitoring, my credit score was pretty low. It was probably in the 600s. And probably before that, it was like in the 600s. But I was working on it. It was building up, and it was going up and down because I really didn't understand, all the impacts of my credit score. So I would get to like 700 and something, and then I'll drop right back down to like 600 and something, and it'll just fluctuate up and down. So, but now, like, it probably takes me maybe around 12 months. At one point, it did take me like 2 months, but it just kind of varies what I'm doing.
Okay.
Because the whole purpose of getting credit is to use it, right? And you have to use credit to
To
maintain
maintain
your credit
credit.
score too, right? So that helps it to, that actually makes it fluctuates up and down. So there was times where, so it's kind of hard to say how long it actually takes you because it depends on what's going on in your life and what
Mhm.
your credit score is at that time,
Right.
and how much you have. Where, for instance, you got a purchase of like $14,000, right? Well, to get that down, maybe you get a bonus at work in 2 months. right? And so you apply that bonus to that amount, and that'll, you know, increase your credit score. Or maybe it's going to take you 12 months to get that down because you got to pay it off. So it really depends on the person's situation and what their current score is.
Okay. I love I appreciate the fact that you were transparent and said that, kind of when you started back in 2016, that you were in the 600s. Because I know that that is going, and then that within like a 5 year period of time, you got up to an 850. So I hope for those who are watching that that gives you some encouragement if you are like, regardless of kind of where you are, that it wasn't that she started off at, 790 and then got to 850. Like she started off in the 600s and then she worked her way up. So hopefully that gives some people some encouragement that the
Mhm.
same way that she, did it is definitely possible for you to do it as well. And to that point, you have to have a plan. So, like you said, if you get bonuses and you decide to contribute a significant amount of your bonus towards it, then that can help ramp things up. Or so long as you're steady paced, over whatever period of time, whatever it is that you can contribute to paying down your debts. And we'll get more into some of the tips that you recommend. Um, so, let me ask you this: once you actually achieved a perfect credit score, was it difficult for you to maintain it for a period of time? Because I know that you said that it's kind of ebbed and flowed. So is it
Mhm.
challenging to keep it there?
It is. It's challenging to keep it because, like I said, life happens, and I utilize my credit. I leverage it to be able to do things. I've leveraged it to help my business. I've leveraged it to get business loans, right? So I've leveraged my credit a lot to do investments, right? And using other money to do certain things, right? Other people money to be able to invest in things like that, based off my credit. When you have an excellent credit score, I mean, there's so many things that you can do to leverage it. So yes, it's been challenging to maintain it because I use it.
Okay.
So I can keep it there, and I'm all excited, and then I'm like, oh, there's something I want to do. So I need to use it, or I could have a card, one of my older account cards where I have like a limit of like 20,000, for instance. And if I don't use it within a certain period of time, they're going to decrease my limit. And that's
Oh,
going to impact my credit.
yeah.
So sometimes I have to use my credit. And when I start using my credit, it increases my utilization rate, which means it drops my score.
Right,
So,
right.
it's a balancing act, but as long as I maintain above that 800, I'm pretty good. That's that excellent credit. Um, but I just love the bragging rights of the perfect credit score. So,
Oh no, hey, I've gotten into the 800s, but I have not. To your point, it's like you get to a certain point and then you get stuck. So trust
Mhm,
and believe.
mhm.
I will internally be, enjoying that those bragging rights when I get to 850. Okay, so I have a question on YouTube,
Mhm.
and the person's question is: how many credit cards do you think someone should have at any given time?
I think, again, it depends on your situation. It really does. I have multiple credit cards. I probably have um, at least 4 credit cards. I
Okay.
have multiple credit cards, and the reason why I have multiple credit cards, one is, it helps to balance. You have to have a balance of credit versus loans as well, or like credit cards versus like a mortgage or a personal loan or a car loan, things like that. You have to have a balance. So you have to keep the balance. So if I have like three or four personal loans, then I really need to match that with my credit cards as well. So
Okay.
you got to have a balance of your credit mix. So again, like I said, it really depends on your situation, but I can tell you that I have at least 4 credit cards and I rotate them, depends on what I'm doing. I do have one card that I use to pay for basically everything. But let me just tell you, You have to be disciplined because it will catch up to you if you don't pay it off every week or every 2 weeks. If you wait till the end of the month to pay it off, then it's like, oh wow, that's a lot of money. Let me just not do that. You get tempted to not pay the whole thing off. So I like to pay mine like every week or 2 weeks max.
Okay.
Because what I do, I utilize it to get points. So on my one credit card, like at one point I had over $2,000 worth of points that I can use to however I want to use it for, right? And so I do utilize like one of the credit cards for that. Or I may use another credit card because it has a super low interest rate, or they will offer me temporary, and that's something else you can do. You can always give them a call and say, hey, I need to make a big purchase. Can you lower my interest rate temporarily? Or can you give me a 0% interest rate temporarily? And some credit cards would do that. I've had that happen to me many times. So certain cards I would use for that because I know that they will do that for me. And so when I have to make a big purchase and I don't want all that interest and I know I have to pay it over time, I'll utilize like that credit card. So I have different credit cards for different reasons. And
Okay.
then I have a credit card that has a big limit. So I got that one. So if I ever have to do like a huge purchase, emergency or something like that, um, I have that because it's a big limit.
Okay. I love it. I have never I've asked for an interest decrease before, but I wanted it forever. Like I didn't want a temporary. I didn't want a temporary
I know.
interest decrease. I was like, you've seen that I've used my card, and you've also seen that I've paid my card off. So now I'm expecting a reward because I paid it all off. And
And
now
you
you
want it
should
for a
decrease.
lifetime, right?
Yes, now you should decrease my interest rate. Because to your point, I have other credit cards and I could go somewhere else
Mhm,
and use my credit card somewhere else. But I would really like to use it with you if you'll go ahead and decrease my interest rate. And
mhm,
to your point, sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't work. And if it
right.
doesn't work, and I have, like I said, I have other options,
Mhm,
then I don't have a. The worst case scenario is they can say no, and you'll still have what you presently have.
mhm,
So I'm always open to asking for what I want, and then if no is the answer, then no is the answer. Okay,
right.
let's see. I have someone on Facebook. I am a single
Okay.
mother of two young adults. Their ability to make big purchases, such as student loans and a car loan, depends on my credit. How can I increase my credit score and help them establish their own credit?
Oh, okay. So
Here we go.
she
I put it on the screen just in case you need to kind of read it again yourself.
yeah, that's what I was thinking. I don't know if I can see. Oh, there we go. Let me just scroll down a little bit. I'm a single mother of two young adults. So they're utilizing, it sounds like they're utilizing her credit to maybe do like a cosign.
Yeah, that's fine. That was my
Is that what she's doing, cosigning? Okay, so cosigning. Well, my first thing is I know it's your kids, but I'm not big on cosigning. Um, what I would do and what I'm doing with my daughter, I put her on like as an authorized user on my credit to help her to build her credit so that she can get the loan herself, so that it's not impacting my credit. So, I'm not a big fan of co-signing. I understand that there's times where you have to do it for your kids. I get that. But that one's hard. So I mean, I would suggest, I would look at, what the balances are, what it is, and then look at their credit, see what their credit is, see where you can help them to increase their credit, and then help them to refinance it to get yourself out of it. And then it becomes on them, and then that's going to help your credit. But I know you don't want to leave your kids out there, and you're not leaving them out there. What you're doing is showing them how to increase their credit and have great credit choices as well. And then they can look into perhaps, like I said, doing refinancing. That's what I will recommend.
Okay, thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Okay, so you've officially achieved the 850 perfect credit score. Talk to
Mhm.
me about the benefits of having a perfect credit score. And even for those that maybe that's not their interest, talk to me about the benefits of even just having an excellent credit score. So you're in the 800 range and you've achieved excellent. Talk to me about the benefits of excellent and then the benefits of an actual 850.
Yeah, so the benefits of having excellent credit is, first of all, you have peace. Peace is important. I don't know if my peace getting taken away from me. I don't know what I'll do. I have to have peace. So it gives you a peace, and you're confident because when I go to get a loan, I'm super confident. I know I'm going to get approved for the loan. So that gives me lots of confidence, and you're able to do some negotiation as well. So I've gotten a loan where it didn't appear on my personal credit. Uh, and I've gotten, like, for instance, my last car loan that I got, it was a 0% APR, and typically it's 5 years. But I was able to have it at 7 years, a 0% APR. So you'll be able to negotiate your terms as well. And I would say that's in the excellent credit as well. But I would say, definitely over that 810, just really up there because you can just walk in with confidence. Um, so those are some of the benefits. Of course, you get like high credit limits. Like I said, you can use it to start your business and get a credit card. Um, like I started a business and the business was a few months in and it didn't generate revenue, but yet I got a $20,000 credit limit for my business in my business name. But I just leveraged my credit for it. Now I did get dinged for my credit to be reviewed, but it doesn't appear on my credit, right? But I was able to get that for my business. So that allows you to create your own capital. It's very hard to get capital for a business. I won't say very hard. I won't say that because everything's possible, right? It could be easy for some people. But I do hear that often that people are trying to get capital. I need capital kind of thing. And so this allows me to, hey, I can get my own capital, but still using somebody else's money, right? I'm not using my cash. I keep my cash personal. I keep that to myself. But I'm still able to leverage my credit to get capital and use somebody else's money, right? So those a lot of benefits. Now, hitting the perfect credit score, that benefit is really like for me when I walk into like the dealership, they're like, oh, that's Sabrina. Give her whatever she wants. She's gonna approve.
Ah,
So I walk in like Beyonce. I'm like the Beyonce of credit, right? And so I'm just excited about that. I'm like, I have my little stardom going on. Never thought I can be like a little superstar like that, but like I said, it's more for bragging rights, and of course that boosts my confidence even more because I know I have a perfect credit score, and we're about to come in here and we're going to negotiate terms of the contract. You can negotiate the terms of your loans. Most people just think they have to go with whatever terms are there when you're reading through the contracts, but yeah, you can negotiate those terms.
I love it. I love it. I'm even more excited now because to your point, I Lord, I'm good with the car that I have is paid off, is paid in full. I'm not asking for anything else. But when I get to that point, I'm all
Mhm.
about negotiating some terms and walking in and being like, I know I can have what I want because I have an 850. I love
It's
it.
that
Okay.
confidence. It's like, I got this.
Yes. I love it. I love it. Okay. So let me ask you this. In your opinion, how easy or difficult is it for a person to get into the 800 club?
Okay. I think again, it really depends on your credit situation of if it's difficult or easy. So for me, I've had easy moments and I've had difficult moments. The easy moments is when I'm having fun with it. Like when I'm at like 840 and I was like, okay, what do I have next month? So I'm looking forward to, okay, here's some things I've done. Did it work? So when it comes, it's like, yes, I'm at 845. Okay, I'm almost there. So those instances are easy for me and they're fun. So it's not like work or anything like that. I'm just, like really excited about trying to get my score. But then the difficult times, like I said, when I first started, at that 600 mark, that was really difficult for me to increase my score. And I didn't know. I didn't know a lot of things, and today there's so much stuff on the internet, but we don't always look for it as well or know where to find it, right? But there's a lot of information on the internet on how you can improve your scores, right? But like you said, Laura, sometimes you get stuck and you don't know what it is. You're like, I did all of this stuff. What is it that's stopping me from going to that next level, right? So I have difficult moments, especially when it drops under 800. It hurt my feelings, but it happens, and then it becomes a little difficult because sometimes it takes time to get it back up when it definitely drops under that 800. Um, so like I said, it just kind of depends on the person and your credit situation and where you're at with your credit. But it can be easy, but I think most of it is like it's difficult and it's rare. If you do a Google search, how many people here in the U.S. have a perfect, and I do FICO, perfect FICO credit score, and you'll see that I believe the last time I looked
1.81.
was under 3%
Yeah,
of
it was
credit.
1 point. I looked this week and did a post when I was advertising for this. 1.81%,
Yeah, it
literally. So under 2% of people. Um,
will hit that.
so
There's more millionaires than people with perfect credit scores.
hello. Um, so I um so I have someone here, and I'm right in line with this person.
Okay.
For people who are like, I can get to 820, I can get to 830, I can get to 840, but I can't get over the hump. Like, what are some key things that you would recommend, like you look at to try to get you over the hump there?
Yeah. So credit history. I think credit history is a big one that we don't realize is that you have to have a significant amount of credit history. And I don't want to say you can't because anything's possible, right? And they change the rules over time and they have different versions and things like that. So I don't want to say you can't, but just what I'm saying is set the right expectation that you're not going to start credit and in 5 years, like from 18 to like 23, and you're like, oh, perfect credit score, right? So credit history, I think, is one of the things that people may miss, that they need to have a length of credit history, and it
Mhm.
need to be more than that 3 years or 5 years, or 7 years. It need to be probably closer to 20 years.
Okay.
It could be like I've hit it before 20 years of credit history, so I've hit it, so it don't have to be 20. But I'm just saying that it have to be up there with the credit history. I think that's one of the things I found, and the credit utilization as well. I mean, you got to get that credit utilization down to like less than 5% credit utilization rate. So you got to really get that down, and then people running your credit. Um, they usually say that, oh, it's going to impact a little bit, but the more people who are running your credit and they're doing that hard pull, it's going to actually impact your credit more than you think it will.
And it
Uh,
adds up
and
the more people who are doing it.
yes, it adds up. And so little things like that can be a blocker. And then, like I said earlier about your credit mix, you have to have that credit mix. You're thinking that, well, I got a mortgage and I got two credit cards, I'm good, right? But you don't have that nice mix. So you need like different types of credit. So you got to have a credit mix. So that's one of the things I do. I try to look at the credit report and try to point out, okay, maybe let's try working in this area. This could be why you're not hitting that point. So it's like little things like that
Okay.
that um, that you need to look at.
Okay, excellent. So one of the things that I started doing or that I did several years back was actually did a freeze on my credit so
Mhm,
that there would be no more of those little dings here and there where they say, "Oh, we're doing a soft ding," or whatever the case may be. Like I would randomly see that my credit had been ran by somebody that I didn't like try to apply
mhm,
for a card with, but it also helps from the for me it helps from the perspective of not worrying as much about identity theft, and that
mhm,
way I know that if I want to go for a loan or get a new credit card or something, I know that I'm going to do it. I go back into my into Experian and I say, okay, remove the freeze. And then I'm able to do whatever I want to do. And legitimately, as soon as I'm like, okay, one moment, please, unfreeze. Go ahead and run my credit. Okay, we ran it. Freeze. And I go right back to it. And that's just something that I have done for myself that's worked very well for me. But also, and not that this is for the type of person that I am, but like if you're a person who's like, oh, they have this new credit card offer at this store and they're offering me X, Y, and Z. So I should really go ahead and get this credit card, then having it frozen and like having to go through a method or a process to unfreeze it for them to be able to run your credit for something can also slow that down to give you the opportunity to really think about,
mhm.
okay, do I need another credit card? Is this in the best interest of what my financial goals are? Like, is this really going to get me to where I want to be? So on and so forth. But that's something that I've personally done. What is your thought about putting a freeze on your own personal credit
Um,
for helpful or non helpful purposes?
I think, again, it's all with the person. How disciplined are you? Is my question. And if you're not disciplined, then the freeze is definitely going to help you. You want to definitely do that. So I really think it really depends on how disciplined you are. And I just want to say that one thing: if they are doing a soft pull, that should not impact your credit. If you did not give them permission to do a hard pull, then you can dispute that and get that removed from your credit because you did not give them permission, right, to do a hard pull. There's a difference between soft pull and hard pull. So when you look at your credit report, you'll see the soft pulls there, right? But they're not impacting your credit report. I mean, your credit score. But those hard pulls are the ones that's impacting that score. And so if you and that's one of the things that I would say that you want to do, like a tip. Always look at your credit report because, like you said, Laura, they're saying they might be doing a soft pull, but maybe they did a hard pull, and you don't know that until you look at your credit report and you see it there, and it's impacting your score, and that's something you need to dispute at that time. Um, I've never put a freeze on my credit. I've thought about it many times, but I love to utilize my credit. So I like to get the offers and compare, but I'm disciplined,
I
and that's
still
why
get offers.
I
I still get offers. I shred them and do nothing with them, but I do still get offers. Now I don't get to that point. I do not get as many of them. Like
yeah,
before, I was getting 8 to 10 offers a week or so, and it was just giving me more junk mail to shred, which was
mhm,
annoying.
mhm, mhm.
Which it also kind of took that 8 to 10 down to like 3 to 5 now, which is more reasonable. But I wish it would have just eliminated them sending me junk mail. Let me find you when I need you, uh, versus you being like, "Oh, you should come talk to us." Um, but okay,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah. So it's good to put that freeze, like you said, identity theft. I do have identity theft tracking as well,
mhm.
where I'm notified. So I have all that tracking. But I've thought about putting a freeze my account. But again, like I said, it's all about discipline. And I think you hit it right on the nail. If you're not at that stage, definitely do that because then that'll force you to rethink getting that card or getting that loan because you have to go through all of that to
Yes.
get it removed. So I think that's an excellent point that you should do that. And I might do that in the future, but right now I have not done it. But it's something I've been considering, and if I start to see a lot of things on my hitting my um, credit, that's when I'll probably consider going ahead and put a freeze on it.
Okay. Okay. So
But
I
yeah, it's an excellent idea. That
think,
you might encourage me to just go ahead and do it anyways. I'm disciplined, but
hey, I get it. Okay. So I have a question. I recently purchased a rental property when the
okay.
interest rates were very high. Do
Okay.
you have any advice on if slash when I should try to refinance that loan?
Um, Refinance it whenever, whenever there's a lower interest rate. I don't think there's a cap of like, oh, you can only refinance once every 10 years, you know? So, I mean, I wouldn't wait because you don't know. You don't know when, like, so if it's, I'm just throwing out a number, if it's at 7%, right? And you have the opportunity to get it to 5% now, then go ahead and get it refinanced to get it at 5% because you're going to save money now. Because what if it's another 3 years before it drops back to like that 3%, where it kind of dropped really low? What if it's another 10 years? So are you going to wait 5 to 10 years when you could have just refinanced it, saved 2% over, that 5-year time period? I think that's one of the mistakes I've made is trying to wait until like the lower interest rate comes, and then sometimes it just go up. The interest
Yeah.
rate continue to go up, and I'm like, oh my god, I should have refinanced back then. And then you're thinking that, oh, it's going to turn around soon, everybody thought like by now the market would have changed, and it hasn't yet. So you don't know, unless you have insider knowledge of when it's going to turn. But usually you don't know. So I mean, I would say if you have the opportunity to decrease it, go for it.
Okay. So I have another one. How often
Mhm.
should you review your credit report?
Reviewing a credit report, I would say um, at a minimum once a year, minimum. Like for my credit score, I look at my credit score monthly. And what I'm saying, the difference between the credit score and the credit report. So the reason why I look at my credit score monthly, because that's going to let me know if something is happening with my credit report. And that's when I know I need to pull my credit report sooner than later. So instead of you having to kind of pull your credit report over and over again, you can get into that habit of doing that. And again, like I said, when you're at the beginning process, I mean, I will pull it as often as you can. There's free ways that you can pull your credit report. There's some companies that offer you to see it every month, right? And if you get that opportunity, yeah, go ahead, take a look at it every month. But at a minimum at least once a year. But definitely look at your credit score as often as you can, because that's going to tell you if something is going on with your credit report, and that would trigger you to pull that credit report.
Yeah, I recommend that you look at it at least twice a year. I monitor my credit through Experian, and I believe that they allow you to see all three of your reports quarterly. So you can do a quarterly pull of them, but I say twice a year to your point, just to make sure that nothing has changed.
Mhm,
Um, a lot 12-month period of time is a lot of time for
mhm,
something to have gone wrong and you to have been unaware of it. And so that's why I say at least twice a year. Um, just glance over it, make sure, do a side by side comparison, make sure everything still looks the same, or whatever adjustments or changes are
mhm.
things that you are familiar with and you're aware of. Um, so yeah. And the gentleman with the rental property said, thank you for your advice.
You
Okay. Um, what else should people know? Oh, no, no, no. This one. What are your five top tips? I'm doing 10 fingers. What are your five top tips for someone seeking to improve their credit score?
Okay. Well, number one, know your score. You got to know your score. If you don't know your score, how do you know how to improve it or what you need to improve? You definitely have to know your score. Like I said, I was getting my credit check, getting things, didn't even know what my own score was. Somebody had to tell me that I had a great score. That was super embarrassing. So I would say my tip number one is know your score. You got to know what your score is. You got to know what your baseline is. Um, so I would say that's number one. And there's a lot of free options out there where you can know your score for free. Um, and or you can pay a company, or if you have certain credit cards also give that to you for free because you have a relationship with them, you have a credit card with them. So I would look at your, if you're looking for free options, I would look at your credit cards, I would look at your bank. A lot of those companies, they offer the services for free, right? And then there's of course other services that you pay for. But get to know your score. Number two, understand what impacts your score. Um, so there's and know what you're know which one that you're trying to improve on. So I focus on the FICO credit score, and so they have certain criteria. So you have to look and see what the criteria is for you to get to the next level. Like for instance, um, the credit utilization rate, um, your your payment history, things like that. So you kind of know how those things are impacting your credit. Like we already talked about a lot of the things, especially the credit history we talked about. Um, and then I would say know what's in your credit report. We kind of talked about that already, because there could be things in your credit report that you got to dispute. It could be one thing that's in there that will shoot your credit score up high, and you don't even realize that it's in there. And it could be identity theft that you don't even know that you have, or it could be like we talked about earlier. Somebody was supposed to do a soft pull, but they did three hard pulls. And so that's really impacting your credit score. So look at your credit report because there are some things that could be in there. And even like your personal information. Sometimes your personal information is wrong. Your name might be correct. Your social security number might be correct, but your address could be different. There are some places where they actually look at your zip code. And so you want to make sure that even your personal information is correct. So make sure you're looking at your credit report. We talked about that already. And of course, pay your bills on time. It's very important that you pay your bills on time. That is probably one of the fastest ways that your credit go downhill if you miss a payment. Make it a point that you're budgeting properly. You're paying your bills early if you can, because emergencies happen. And when emergencies happen, if you paid your bills early, then you can go a week or so where you've already paid it early, you're fine, right? So I pay your bills, but pay them early if you can. And then if you're having some issues in that area, reach out to the credit card company, the whoever it is that you're behind on, because sometimes if you have like a history with them of good uh, payments and you slip up, because it happens, life happens. It happened to me, right? Immediately called them. I called them. I was like, hey, oh my God, I can't believe this. You can look at my history. And they agreed to remove it and remove it from my credit, right? And so I would say that's a big thing is paying your bills on time. And then I guess the fifth one, I think I'm on number five. Don't be so quick to close account. Historically, we're all excited that we paid something off and we're like, okay, I'm closing it out because I'm afraid to use it again, right? Um, don't be too quick because you could be closing out a credit card that's that that's giving you 15 years of credit history. And if you close that out, that's going to drop your average. If your other cards are like 8 years and 10 years, and you close out that one that was 15 years, you've just dropped your credit history. So that's another kind of key point in excelling in your credit as well. Don't be so quick to close out your account. I think that was five.
Yes, it was 5. Thank you so
Okay.
much. That was a great 5. So, to a quick recap of what all 5 of them were is,
Mhm,
know your score
mhm,
was 1, understand what impacts your score is 2, know what's on your credit report was 3, pay
mhm,
your bills on time was 4, and then don't be quick to close an account. And I think that one is a great one, because having an open account, like if you've paid, if you whatever, I bought some mattresses from Mattress Firm and I have, an $8,000 limit there and I don't plan on buying any more mattresses. So shred the card or, put it away in a file, but leave it open because it also will help decrease your credit utilization because it shows
mhm,
that you have more credit available that you're actually not using. So it could be a benefit for you to leave
mhm,
it open and just not do anything with it, to Sabrina's point, versus saying, oh, you know what? I've already finished with this. I know I'm not going to use it again. Let me just go ahead and get rid of it. Well, now you're dropping your the available credit, which is going to impact your credit utilization. So that's
mhm.
definitely something to keep in mind. Now, I only have 2 more questions left for you.
Okay.
Guys, if you have, well, everyone, not guys, if you have any questions, please definitely continue to drop them in the chat. This is like, I love all the questions that have come in thus far. So, what else should people know about improving their credit that we haven't discussed thus far? Or
Uh,
is there anything else?
oh, there's a whole lot. I can I love talking about credit. I can be here all night, but I don't want to waste, I have everybody time here. Um, so I would say um, it's going to cost you something. Um, with your credit as you're trying to excel it and trying to increase your credit. It's going to cost you something. It may cost you time because it does take time, and don't be weary that it's taking time, because you'll get there. You've seen, went through life a lot of times where it's, oh my goodness, time passed by so fast. It's been 5 years already. So don't be weary that it's taking time, but just know it can take time, to get your credit to where you want it to be. So be patient with that. It could cost you money. Like I said, there's different credit monitoring companies. Some charge, some are free, right? There's also, if you're like down at that 600s and you got just so many things going on, you can either one try to figure it out yourself, right? Or you can hire, for instance, a credit card. I'm sorry, credit repair company, right? And they're going to charge you money to help you dispute things. But there's information online that's free, but you got to look it up. You got to figure out. You got to go through the process. But there's a lot of free stuff out there too. Or you may decide to go with like a credit repair company. There's other like companies out there, like nonprofit organizations. I've never used Operation Hope, but I do follow John Hope Bryan, and he, gives a lot of good information. They do a lot of things for free to help people. But like I said, I haven't used them before, but I've checked them out. I don't need it, but I want to look for like resources for, to help people out, who may need help. So that's a nonprofit organization, but there's so much out there. But some people want to kind of quickly get it done. They don't want to do all that research, and so yeah, it's going to cost you some money. And like I said, some people want a robust, credit monitoring where it's doing all of this monitoring for you, and that might cost you some money as well. So I would say, just know that, it's going to cost you something, but it's worth it. I would say it's definitely worth it. I've saved thousands of dollars. I've been able to do many investments, start the business. Um, like I said, earlier, I do real estate as well, and it's just really have helped me out. It's worth it.
Okay, so you have a challenge coming up at the end of Financial Literacy Month. Can you tell us a little bit about it?
Okay. All right. So yeah, it's a 3-day credit challenge, and it's going to be April 26th through April 28th. Each night is going to be from 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. Of course, I'm trying to keep you within that hour. And the whole purpose of that, you'll come in. I'll be showing you a free way to find out your score because I need everybody in that challenge to know what their score is before we even move forward past the first night. So you're gonna start with knowing your credit score, and by the end of the third day, we're gonna work on a plan to excel it. So you get like a workbook that we're going to be working through with some goals and plans, and I give people opportunity to talk about what their goals in and give them some feedback. And you leave with having a plan. It's free, and of course, there's an option where you can be my VIP. And with the VIP, you get access to the recordings. I will actually mail you the workbook. So it would be a printed version of the workbook that's with the VIP. You'll also get 1 month of group accountability because one of the things you may need is just to get on a call with the group and we just kind of talk about something for that month and get your opportunity to ask questions if you're stuck without paying, a lot of money for that one-on-one. Or sometimes you're just listening in and you hear me answering a question to somebody else and you're like, oh, that's it for me, right? So you'll get a free month of group accountability. And then also I'll be doing a drawing for a one-on-one strategy call with myself. Right now, I don't do a lot of one-on-ones, but this would be an opportunity where I'm going to do a drawing. And that's the VIP. But the free option, you still get the workbook. It'll just be sent to you electronically, and you'll be able to go through every day with us.
Okay, so if someone were interested, where would they find information about this?
Yes, so you would go to missperfectcredit.com. It's slash shop. So it's Miss MRS perfectcredit.com backslash shop. And that's where you can sign up. You'll see where it say the 3-day credit challenge. I have some ebooks out there and you'll see the workbook out there. But I'll be putting more and more things out there as I continue to write about my experiences.
Okay, excellent, excellent. So I dropped it in the chat, and I also, is that correct? Make sure I spelled everything correctly
Okay.
because I was trying to quickly grab it while you were talking so I could go ahead and add it.
Missperfectcredit.com. Yep, that's it.
Okay,
Perfect. Thank you.
perfect. And so if you want,
Perfect.
excellent, if you want to follow Sabrina, you can follow her on YouTube, on Facebook, and on Instagram at
Mhm.
Mrs. MRS period perfect credit. And then, of course, you have her website there, Mrs. Perfect Credit.com. And you just heard about the challenge that she is going to be doing, which is
Mhm.
free 99. And then she has a VIP part that you could sign up for as well. And it sounds like that the VIP is very much worth it. What is your VIP rate?
Right now, the introduction is $29. It's
Okay,
pretty low
y'all,
right
I'm
now, but
telling you that
and, oh, go
you
ahead.
should get that. Just go ahead and get the VIP for $29. If that's the entry rate, I'm sure she has a limited amount of those available and it is going to go up and get sold out. So just
It
go
is
ahead and
gonna
sell her
go
out
up.
tonight. Yeah, sell her out tonight. Okay, so I do have one question that
Okay.
came in. What's your opinion on credit repair agencies?
Um, I think they can be helpful. There's so many out there, and let me just say, so my company is Excel in Credit, and my website is excellincredit.com. I am not a credit repair company. I focus on educating people on how to excel their credit. So once you got your credit to a certain point, I do come to me and I help you to excel it. And so with the credit repair companies, I think they have a place. I think they can be helpful. Just with any company, you have some bad ones and you have some really good ones, right? And so you just have to evaluate those credit repair companies. Make sure you're looking at the contracts and what they are providing for you and the timelines and things like that in exchange of how much you're paying for. So, I mean, I think just like with any company, they can be good, they can be bad. But I would say I think they're helpful for the most part. They're going to help you look at things on your credit card that probably should not be there and help you to dispute. Most of them dispute on your behalf. So you don't have to be the one sending out letters or be the one to go online and try to dispute it and things like that. Because when you're trying to dispute it yourself, the credit bureaus will come back and, discourage you like, no, or anything like that. But a lot of the credit repair companies, they have so much experience that they know how to get around certain things, right? Some of the feedback that they get from the credit bureaus, because sometimes they're sending these automated responses to you, and you may not know that it's an automated response to you. But these credit repair companies, they know a lot of things. They have a lot of experience, and they can really help you to get your credit on track and find things that perhaps you didn't see or you didn't think about. And so they may be able to get it done faster for you. So just be careful. Like I said, with any company, you have the good ones and you have the not so good ones where you're like, I spent thousands of dollars and my credit score only increased by 5 or something like that. But then I've seen it, where, they didn't spend as much and their credit score did soar.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Any other questions before we end this live, guys? Thank you so much for everyone's active participation. I really appreciate all the questions. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Sabrina, for your wealth of knowledge. You guys, I met Sabrina last year at a conference that combined God and business. And we had the opportunity to meet. And when we did, we were both in the finance industry and we were like, oh, we have to connect. And here we are now, so many months later. And it was just a pleasure meeting you then. I sincerely appreciate you being willing to come on and talk about the work that you do and how you achieved an excellent credit score, and then help others to be able to do the same thing. You guys, again, the link that's on the screen here, mrsperfectcreditscore.com/shop to sign up for her challenge that's at the end of the month. What are the dates of the challenge again?
Yeah, it's April 26th through April 28th. So it's like a Friday, Saturday, Sunday, but it's in the evenings.
Okay, perfect. The 26th through the 28th, it's in the evenings. It's a free challenge, but as of today, this moment at 8:08 p.m. Central Standard Time, the VIP is $27. I know she's going to increase that.
29.
I'm sorry, $29.
That's okay.
I know she's going to increase that. And guys, that's a steal because VIPs normally are like at minimum $97. So she is really, really trying to help you out there. So please go ahead and sell out her VIP tonight and grab those spots that she has at that $29 rate. Thank you so much again, Sabrina. I really appreciate it. Okay, so guys, next Friday at 7
Thank you,
p.m.
Laura.
Oh, yeah, thank you. Next Friday at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, the topic is going to be life insurance and why it's a necessity. So we're bringing in a financial coach who also is a life insurance representative, and we're going to talk all about life insurance. So please come back and see us. If you don't already have life insurance, you might be able to connect with her to get it, but she's going to tell you all the ins and the outs and everything about it. And thank you again, Sabrina. It was wonderful seeing you, and everyone have a good evening.
Bye, everyone.